What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a product review today that I'm really excited to use. What this is, it's a grain mill or a spice grinder. Now, this is from OKF, and this is a
550 grams.
unit. It's massive. It's big. And the only reason I have this is because I make my own spices for my rubs and all that stuff. So I needed something to grind down. But I want to basically go through this thing that I just got only because it's freaking awesome, right? It's massive, it's huge, and I'm hoping to run lots of things through it because of the functionality. Now, there's few things I would like to cover before we even start grinding. Um, this is brand new. I haven't used it yet. So, as you get these food material that, you get to use on food and all stuff, you want to make sure it's clean. You want to make sure you clean it off before you get started. Most of these things come from manufacturing. They might have some oil in it. They might have some smell in it and all that stuff. So, we want to fix that first before we actually put our own spices in there and, get that all that contaminant and all that stuff in there. Now, few safety features. Make sure the unit is unplugged when you're cleaning. Make sure you don't put anything wet. This is not for wet. Okay, this is only dry ingredients. Even oily products like coffee may damage this, but coffee is oily, but it's not as oily as sesame seeds, for example, or cashews. Like if you grind them up so well, they turn into a paste. This is for dry ingredients, something like rice, grains, things like that. Um, so the first thing you want to do, you want to make sure the machine is unplugged. And the way this thing works, it has a twist lock type of mechanism, and the lock is these two little handles here. You kind of push them down like this, and it'll lock this in place. It does have adjustable knobs to basically lock it and unlock it. Stainless steel. Um, it has propeller and there's two small blades inside that causes the whole thing to grind up. It does come with a little swifter, uh, not the swifter, uh, or strainer, whatever you want to call it. This is when you blend your things. When you grind them down, you could run it through this to get any bulky material that's left over. Um, Now, this is not a brushless motor. This is a brushed motor, which means it does have these little um, carbon, these little carbon parts. These are basically these what causes the motor to turn. So when you turn it on, you might smell something that's not supposed to be smelling. That's just the brush motor smell. And because of during the operation, these things tend to get hot because they are going at a very high speed. So you will get some smell. They will get some heat. Here is just a normal operation of these. And do not turn this on without the lid on. This is a it's not highly, it's highly dangerous, but it's very fast. The blades will run fast. It could cause a lot of harm and damage if you don't have the lid on when you are operating this. So before operation, make sure it's unplugged. And the recommendation is to have stuff that you put in here at least to cover the blade to a certain point before you run operation. Do not fill it up to the rim. Not recommended, only halfway, because there's a lot of things moving around, and if there's a lot of restrictions for the blade to run, the motor is going to overheat and it's going to stop running. Maximum operation time for this is about 5 minutes. It does have a timer right here, and this timer is the way you turn the machine on. So you want to turn it off, you want to turn it on, you're going to twist the knob. The time you're going to hear the clicking on the timer, and off is basically sets it off. Now, before the first use, what you're going to do is you're going to wipe it down with a paper towel. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a baby wipe. It's a little moist, but it's good enough. It's not too moist for it to damage anything. So I'm just going to wipe this down with the baby wipe. because baby wipe tends to kind of grab a lot of grease out of it as well. Then I'm going to use a paper towel to go back and kind of wipe it down again, kind of get that little wet moisture marks on there. Now, so as I already cleaned, this already got dark a little bit, so there's a lot of some small particles, metal particles in here. So the first thing you want to run through this is some rice. So I have about cup and a half of rice in here. So we're going to dump the rice in here, and the rice should kind of get all the oily and anything residuey or whatever that's in there, and it should be able to uh, get what we need to get out of this thing for the first try. Get the smell out. Mainly it's for the smell. So we want to get that smell out and see how it does. And it'll be the first test to see how this is going to grind things up. So as soon as you plug it in, you have a red light here. The light's going to turn on. Now we're going to hold this down. Okay. Again, this is a powerful motor. It's going to spin. And if you kind of turn it on without holding it down, it might just, tumble and fall over. So you don't want to do that. You want to put your hand on here. You want to turn this and let's see what happens. Now that was about 15 seconds. Let's see what's going on inside. Ooh, I could smell the rice actually. It has turned into powder. That's impressive. Still a little grainy. Let's run it again. Oh, by the way, this also has a little gasket right here. So it's a great touch on not having things fly everywhere. All right, we're going to run this for another 15 seconds. All right. Unlock, twist. And we're just going to unplug it just in case because I like my fingers. All right. So more powdery substance up here. Oh, now the rice is actually, it's like rice flour now. So the way you want to make rice flour is by running it through this machine to make rice flour. So uh, now right here you see it has a handle. Also comes with this little brush. So we're going to use what it came with to basically so remember how much rice I had? Look at that. That's powdery stuff. All right. Next thing we're going to put is some oatmeal because I want some oatmeal flour. So we're going to dump that in here. We're going to brush this off. And we're going to dump this in here because we don't need it. All right, let's plug it back in and run this for about 30 seconds. All right. Oh, this is so cool. Look at this. Look at this. And this is oatmeal ground up. So potentially you can make your own flour with this. So another healthy living is by making your own flour out of grains that you have at home. Um, I know a lot of Middle Eastern and Indian cuisine do use lentil flour, which we're gonna make some right now. I want to see how the lentil is gonna come out. All right, and you don't have to get everything off of this because it doesn't really make a difference in taste in most of the things. So you're gonna have a little left, but it's a good practice to wipe this down with baby wipe and basically use baby wipe as your cleaning or some damp towel. I would say not wet, damp only, because you don't want any water to penetrate into the motor housing. All right, so this is oatmeal. Next thing we have is red lentils or orange lentils. All right, making sure everything's tidy. Same amount of time. All right. I think we have to run the lentils a little bit longer, but we'll see. Ooh, we do not. And that's not smoke. That's just um, dust. Look at that. That's the orange lentils. Came out pretty cool. And if you notice, I'm not using the strainer because whatever that's coming out from here, actually, you know what? This actually will need a little bit more time. I just saw some chunky pieces in there. Let's run this for another 30 seconds. All right. There's more smoke. Guys, and it gets hot in here. The chamber, it gets hot. So don't be afraid because it's going through a lot of grinding here. So yeah, this is much better. A lot finer grind. And it's your call how grainy you want this or how fine you want it uh, to be grinded down to. Definitely a powerful machine. All right, not last, we have this one that I'm gonna do some spices. I have allspice here, but this is a very small amount. I want to see if actually we'll be able to grind this now too. All right, yeah. Okay, let's see. Ooh, again, that's not smoke. That's just I'm just checking to see if this is really hot or not. It's not really hot. So this I went for a minute. Now we're gonna use the little screen here. I just made a mess everywhere. So this is green lentil, and you can actually smell it. You can smell the lentil. So when you use the screen, this is what you get. This is the biggest parts of the whole thing is what you get right there. So um, so green lentil, you gotta run it a little bit longer than minute and a half, maybe about 2 minutes, I would say. It is harder type of I don't know. Is it a grain? Are lentils considered grain? I'm not sure. All right, guys. Last but not least is the allspice. Let's see how this is gonna come out. I don't know if it's this gonna kind of grind it down to fully powder because there's not a lot of it. It's just a little bit. But you know what? Ah, it smells so good actually. So, but you know what? Let's give it a test, right? Nothing. You'll never know until you test it. So I can already tell that it did not grind it fully. It might be a lot of grain in there. Yep, that was right. Um, but I could definitely smell it. Very, very overpowering smell. Only reason it didn't grind it all the way because there was not a lot of it in there. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. So instruction states anything over the blade is recommended. So this was not over the blade. So because again, because of the motion of the blade, because of how fast it goes, it needs some material to grind up. So the less that you have in there, the less it will grind up, basically. So make sure whatever you put in there is halfway, or actually just covers the blade at least, at the minimum. Anything less than that, you're going to risk the fact that it's not going to grind it all up or turn it into a powder. But overall, the machine is very stable. Again, it gets really hot around the bowl only because it's there's a lot of friction going on. There's a lot of resistance and all that stuff. So it's very, very expected. Overall, works great. Very simple use. There's nothing fancy about this. It's just blade and motor. So, but we got the oatmeal grinds right there. We have the green lentil grinds. We have the red lentil. And the first one that we did was the rice. So the rice definitely discard because this was the first thing that you actually run through. But the rest, it can be used. You can mix it together, make a dough for whatever cuisine you're gonna use it. But hey, seems to be a good machine to have to use if you want to blend your own things. Anyways, let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. Peace out.